श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम श्रीशैलाभिजनाम्बुराशिशिरं श्रीकृष्णतातात्मजं श्रीशैलान्वये देवनाथसुधयप्राप्तागमान्तद्वयं पादाब्जेन सिंहताते गुरोर्न्यस्तात्मरक्षाभरं विद्वद्वृन्दचकोरचन्दिरमहं रामानुजार्यं श्रये श्रीरङ्गसुधामधुसमास्वादयन्तं श्रीरङ्गमहिषीपदपङ्कजात्मजं सुलभाश्रयं सदा मोदसिद्धमद्भुतं भजेऽहं गुरुं तं रङ्गनाथप्रियं सुखासनस्थं हृदयाब्जपीठे चिन्मुद्रयालङ्कृतपाणिपद्मं शुभोपवीतं विमलोध्वपुण्ड्रं नमामि रङ्गं गुरुं मन्तरङ्गे नमामि योगसम्राज्ञीं विजयां विजयप्रदां श्रीरङ्गार्धासनासीनां करुणां मम मातरं गुरुरूपपरं ज्योतिः ज्योतिरूपगुरुः परः अज्ञानमन्दिरं ह्येतत् गुरुविज्ञानमन्दिरं मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयिते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम् जयत्याश्रितसन्त्रास ध्वान्तविध्वंसनोदयः प्रभावान् सीतया देव्या परमव्योमभास्करः सकृदेव प्रपन्नाय तवास्मीति च याचते अभयं सर्वभूतेभ्यः ददाम्येतद्व्रतं मम मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि वेदवेद्ये परे पुंसि जाते दशरथात्मजे वेदः प्राचेतसादासीत् साक्षाद् रामायणात्मना. With salutations to our Guru and the Guru of all Gurus, we'll commence our session today. In the last session, there were a couple of questions which were asked. One of it is regarding the relationship between Sri Rama and Guha and Sugriva, right? That was asked by Sai. And the second one is more relevant to the chapter that we are in Sundara Kandam. So I'll take up the first one and then we'll look at the next one, okay? So, in terms of the relationship with Guha, I think Sai mentioned what is that Kambramayanam thing? Aivarano, isn't it? That is the sentence that is mentioned by Kamban. So what we see in the Valmiki Ramayanam is, of course, we know that Sri Ramachandra, on his way to the Aranyavasa, he goes to a place, and that is where Guha, who is a Nishadha Raja, he comes to see Lord Rama along with his complete retinue, with his people, his wife and his army, and he brings lot of riches, wealth, lot of food, etc., and offers it to Lord Ramachandra, saying, you must be tired. In fact, Sumantra is also there along with them at that point of time. So, what happens is Guha pleads to Rama that, you are so dear to me, please take all of this. So the one sentence we see there from Lord Rama is that, I will go to that particular chapter. Where Lord Rama says that you are somebody In fact, he goes one level above Kamban. Okay, I'm just looking for that sentence. Just give me a minute, please. Yeah. He says that basically you are like an Atma Sakha, meaning you are just like me in all aspects. So what he gives is a status of equality to Guha. And he mentions that I have been worshipped by you and your people many times in the past, which shows that the relationship he had with Guha was quite deep and goes back to many years as compared to that of Sugriva. And in one of the shlokas, it says that when Guha offers all of this and pleads him to, please take all of this and enjoy your meal here, Lord Rama, he actually touches his shoulder firmly and he kind of tries to distract him, saying, how are you? How are your people? How are you doing? How is your Rajyam? And politely refuses what Guha offers there, saying, I am right now at the onset of my Vanavasam and I am unable to take any of this because I have a vratam that I have to be a Vanachari now and live like a rishi. That is what he says. And he only partakes of water that is provided by Lakshmana at that point of time. But from a Preeti perspective, he indeed says that you are like me. Okay. So that is the level of friendship and kinship he has to Guha. And in fact, Lord Rama also counsels Guha that, you are the king of a place, a particular region there, and be mindful that it is very, very difficult to guard your own country. So you have to ensure that you have enough treasury, you have to ensure that your people are happy, and you have to also train your army. And he warns him that it is very, very difficult to take care of one's own country. So he provides that kind of counsel. So the relationship between Guha and Ramachandra is very, very deep and probably goes back several years. So it is slightly different from the relationship with Sugriva. So in terms of the specific statement, we have all become 5 now. It is quite neat and proper, right? Of course, Kamban kind of takes the poetic route as well. He extends the creativity, and it is not very different from Lord Rama's own words that I treat you as my own self. That's what he says there. That shows the level of bhakti that Guha also had. In fact, we should notice that Guha, as the name indicates, he is somebody is quite deep in nature. Guhaina cave. And in our heart's cave is where the dear Lord is. And that's what perhaps is the reason why his name also is Guha. And Lord Rama says, I treat you as my own self. That's what we can see in terms of the relationship there. Okay. So now we'll move on to the other aspect, which is that of Vali Vadham. So I think we are now ready to Valiya முடிக்கிறதுக்கு ரெடி ஆயிட்டோம் இப்போ, right? So we'll go to the 18th chapter of Kishkinda Kandam, where I did mention that Lord Rama himself provides.
Sorry, Raghanji, your camera is off. Do you think you can turn it on?
இதுதான் நான் எல்லாருண்டையும் நான் ரிக்வெஸ்ட் பண்றது. I just wanted to give a preview as to how it looks to me when the camera is turned off. Thanks for asking, Sai. I sincerely insist most of you turn your cameras on because it is not Upanyasam, it is Kalakshepam, as they call it in the traditional sense. And it also gives me a sense of, doing that kind of one-on-one, although we are all online, isn't it? So unless you are multitasking, unless you are not able to turn on the video because you are in a different country, that doesn't allow, I know that about Sandeep, that they don't allow that in Gulf to turn on video. So you can be on video off, but all others, as far as possible, this is 145 minutes which we have in a week to dedicate. So Aikamatyam, Aikachittam, Ekopittam, அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க இல்லையா? That is all very important. And this is the time to tune our mind to the Divine Lord. So please treat this as my last message. This was a live demo for you. Okay. All right. So, Wali Vadam அப்படின்றது is a topic that is kind of a very hot topic in terms of debate, Pattimandram and all that. In fact, I got to know last week, Crazy Mohan also has a drama by that, isn't it? This very theme of Wali Vadam. And there are many, many treatises, including Sri Rajagopalachari's or the great scholar, Right Honorable Srinivasa Shastri, right? If you have seen his good old book called Lectures on Srimad Ramayana, he is a fantastic scholar with great felicity in English. And his lectures were kind of, if you go through those lectures, you'll get the gist of Srimad Ramayanam. At the same time, a variety of logic that is embedded there, quite scholarly. This guy keeps asking questions and replies after going through the original text of Srimad Ramayanam. So Srinivas Shastri also has a lot of responses for this particular question. But at the end of the day, he himself, after explaining all of that, he himself, kind of questions, இது பண்ணிருக்க வேண்டாமோ அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி அவரும் விட்டுறாரு. So I think it's something that we all know, isn't it? Do we all know the story of Wali and Sugriva, isn't it? Wali and Sugriva, they both, they try to confront a Rakshasa in a cave. First, Sugriva gets bruised, then he asks Wali to go and fight, right, with him. And the fight goes on for several days. And at the end of the battle between the two, Wali and the Rakshasa, Sugriva stands outside the cave, by the way. He gets so terrified by the Rakshasa. Wali kills that Rakshasa, but the sound that emanates is, I believe, he confuses, Sugriva confuses that it is Wali's sound. So he thinks that Wali is killed. And therefore, out of fear, he closes the door of the cave. And he starts to take over the kingdom. But he gives due respect to Tara, who is the wife of Wali. Yeah, he gives her own peace, etc. But after a little while, Wali emerges, and we know that story, right? So there is a fight that breaks out. And, when Sugriva tries to, respond, the typical dialogue in all movies, and நான் சொல்றத கொஞ்சம் கேளு அப்படின்னு சொல்றதுக்குள்ளே பை போடா அப்படின்னு சொல்லுங்க. That is a standard dialogue we see in most movies. So Wali is not ready to listen to Sugriva at all. Just a minute, please. And what happens is, literally, there is Sugriva gets thrashed and bruised, and he is banished from the kingdom. But he manages to salvage a set of Vanaras who are in tune with Sugriva. One of them is, of course, Hanuman. And that is the story there, okay? And then, of course, once Hanuman introduces Lord Rama to Sugriva, so to that, yeah, point, again, what we see is that there is a, 1 minute. Hanuman introduces Lord Rama to Vali, sorry, Sugriva. And at that point of time, Lord Rama describes his own sad story that I have also lost my wife, don't worry. The only thing is, in terms of Sugriva protecting Tara versus Vali literally taking over Ruma, okay, who is Sugriva's wife. Vali kind of abuses her and he literally puts her into a lot of trauma, okay? And that is the difference between Vali and Sugriva. So Sugriva has lost his wife and Ruma is now along with Vali in his own, Vali's own kingdom. So they both narrate each other's stories. And the only thing that Sugriva asks is, I somehow want us to become friends with each other. And the moment that friendship emerges between the two, Hanuman doesn't waste a moment. He creates a fire, sacrificial fire, and they take an oath in front of the Agni. And Rama gives assurance to Sugriva that I will take care of you. You are probably not aware of my arrows. They will pierce Vali to death any moment, and I will take care of you, come what may. This is the promise Lord Rama gives to Sugriva in front of Agni. Agni Sakshiya, they both become great friends. And again, at that point of time, just like Rama comforted Guha, here he actually embraces Sugriva. He catches hold of his hand very firmly and embraces him tightly, saying that we are now equals and will be friends. So this is the difference between Guha and Sugriva is that Guha is a kind of friendship which goes back many years. This friendship is born out of a purpose, okay, literally. Lord Rama also needs help to search Sita, and he finds in Hanuman, Sugriva and others, a set of people who are quite capable of taking up that task. Okay, that is the thing that happens there. And of course, based on this friendship, Sugriva invites Vali for a battle. Vali will be surprised that, there is a fool who has come back here. Let me go and teach him a lesson. And we all know that on day one, Lord Rama himself is confused between Vali and Sugriva. Right? So on day two, he says, you wear a garland and go. I will be able to figure out who is Vali and who is Sugriva. And from behind the trees, he kills Vali. Right? And then Vali, in chapter 17 of Kishkinda Kandam, Vali gives a big sermon on Dharma. Right? You are supposed to be a Dharma Murti. And look what you have done. You have hidden yourself and then tried to kill me. Is this something that is really worthy of a scion of Raghuvamsha, isn't it? This is certainly not on. And if you had asked me that, I should go on and bring Sita for you, it would have been a task of one day, isn't it? And so on, right? So that is when Lord Rama, ityukta prashitam vakyam dharmartha sahitam hitam parusham valina ramo nihatena vichetasa. So Vali spoke about the so-called dharmartha sahitam hitam, but it is parusha vakyam. In Sanskrit, we know there is purusha and there is parusha. Parusha means very strong, kathoramana vartaigal. Okay, very piercing words, and which you cannot even listen to. ते वयं धर्मविभ्रष्टं स्वधर्मे परमे स्थिताः भरताज्ञां पुरस्कृत्य निगृहीन्मो यथा विधि त्वं तु संक्लिष्टधर्मा च कर्मणा च विगर्हितः कामतन्त्रप्रधानश्च न स्थितो राजवर्त्मनि ज्येष्ठो भ्राता पिता चैव यश्च विद्यां प्रयच्छति त्रयस्ते पितरो ज्ञेया धर्मे वर्त्मनि वर्तिनः. Lord Rama now speaks about dharma. In fact, it's a very interesting chapter. We'll probably not go through it in detail. But Lord Rama says, I belong to this Ikshvaku Kulam, and I follow very strictly Manu Dharma Shastram. And Manu also is one of the forefathers of that same Vamsham. Okay. இக்ஷ்வாக்கு மனு ஞாபகம் இருக்கா? பகவத்கீதையிலையும் வரும். நான் வந்துட்டு புறா மனுக்கு சொன்னேன், மனு இக்ஷ்வாக்கு சொன்னார், அப்படி பரம்பரையாக வந்து இந்த தர்மங்கிறது பாழா போயிட்டுன்னு சொல்லுவார் பகவத்கீதையில். ஸோ தேர்ஃபோர் ஐ ஆம் தி அத்தாரிட்டி ஆன் மனு தர்ம சாஸ்திரம் சிம்ப்ளி பிகாஸ் we follow it in letter and spirit, and the person also belongs to our own thing. Therefore, Vamsham, and we cannot not follow or adopt dharma. And one of the things he says is the elder brother is supposed to be like a father. Jeshto bhrata pita cheva yascha vidyam. You are supposed to take care of your younger one. But look what you have done, right? You have done something. You did not give him at all time for him to explain what exactly happened and why he closed the door of the cave. அதெல்லாம் சொல்லிட்டு கடைசியில் அவர் என்ன சொல்றார் ஸ்ரீ ராமச்சந்திரா அப்படின்னாக்கா, श्रूयते मनुना गीतौ श्लोको चारित्रवत्सलौ गृहीतौ धर्मकुशलैः तथा चरितं मया राजभिः धृतदण्डास्तु कृत्वा पापानि मानवाः निर्मलाः स्वर्गमायान्ति सन्तः सुकृतिनो यथा. So he says that शासनाद्वा विमोक्षाद्वा स्तेनः स्तेयाद् विमुच्यते राजा त्वशासन papasya tadavapnoti kilbisham. I am a king, I am a raja belonging to Kshatriya Vamsham, Surya Vamsham. I am following Manudharma Shastram, and I exactly know how to provide justice. We all know Sama, Dana, Bheda, and Danda. In this particular case, I had to adopt Dandaniti for you, because all the other three methods of taking care of you are no more valid. And when a king tries to punish somebody, the level of punishment depends on that individual. It is said that, for example, if there is a Brahmana who has committed some crime, okay, let's say he has stolen something from somebody, or he has tried to do some activity which is against his dharma. Do you know what the king has to do? What is the punishment that is accorded to Brahmanas? Any guess? You are on mute.
Srini says Sirachedam.
Sirachedam. Tale cut panidu. Wow. Next.
As far as I know, whatever the punishment is 125 times more.
125. Okay, very good. Any other guesses? Kelliya? You know what he has to do? He has to scold him as Kazhai. This is the punishment. Actually, the moot point there is, donkey is, I think I have told this to you in earlier occasions, is one animal, my guru used to say, has the highest amount of ego, body consciousness, okay, among all animals. I am the body. அப்படின்னா அதுக்கு ஓட்டு போட்டு இருக்கிறதுக்கு donkey is the symbol. Okay, elections are happening all around the world, isn't it? How many countries? 80 countries are going for elections this year. And all donkeys are standing for various posts. So the thing is, a Brahmana is supposed to be at least 90% of the time in a sthiti which is called as Brahmi sthiti. That is when you are entitled to the thing called as Brahmana. Okay, and for such a person to be scolded as somebody who has body consciousness is the highest level of punishment. அவர் தலையை எடுத்துருன்னு சொன்னாங்க இல்லையா, அவரோட ஈகோ அதுக்கோட மோசமானது அவரோட ஈகோ. His ego will be hurt so much that he will go into a mood of paschatapam. That is the ideal route.
Okay. I thought நான் என்ன நினைச்சேன்னா பிராமணாளுக்கு வந்துட்டு because they are supposed to be searching towards the Brahman, the ultimate truth. அப்போ அவளுக்கு தான் highest punishment of order கொடுக்கணும்னு that was what I heard. And அதனால வந்துட்டு நான் அது என்னதான் இருக்குமோன்னு நினைச்சேன்.
No, sure. No, certainly.
The reasoning was that அதனாலதான்.
No, you don't have to be condescending. The thing is, Brahman, this is going back, இந்த காலத்துல தான் கொடுக்க வேண்டியிருக்கும். Okay, this goes back to Treta Yugam, where there was a bit of dharma that was still around. And in fact, if a true Brahmin is scolded, that person will take years to come out of that. Okay, because he knows that adada நான் அந்த ஸ்திதியில நான் இருக்கணும், எங்க இருக்கேன் பார் அப்படின்னு அப்படின்னு he will go into that mood of paschatapam. And in Treta Yugam, okay, in Kali Yugam probably what Srini told holds good. We should all be careful about our heads, right? That is the punishment that is given to a Brahmana. Likewise, if a Kshatriya does some mistakes, if a Vaishya does some mistakes, if a Shudra does some mistake, Manu Dharma Shastra says how that person should be punished. Okay. And what is the goal of punishment? அப்படின்னு பார்த்தோம்னா, that is very, very important. What's the goal of punishment? Why do you want to punish somebody at all? It's very simple. There is a track for you to lead life. You are simply going out of track. It is trying to bring you back to that original track is what all this punishment is about. Punishment na பயந்து ஓடக்கூடாது. There is a normal path for you which you have deviated, and you better come back to the path. So what is that path? Abhinaka dharma, artha, kama and moksham. We are supposed to follow a path that leads us towards purusharthas, chaturvida purusharthas. As human beings, of course, if we are animals, the case is very different, right? So inga varache, if we belong to different varnas and ashramas, so same thing applies to ashramas: brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha and sannyasa, right? So depending on which station we are in, if we are deviating from the path of the chaturvida purusharthas, Manu Dharma Shastram basically says what should you do to course correct yourself. அவ்வளவுதான் Manu Dharma Shastram. And that particular thing depends on who you are. And in this case, what a beautiful sentence Lord Rama is saying: Shasanadva vimokshadva stena steyad vimuchyate. The punishment to somebody who is a thief is to use his own tactics to address that. You have stolen Sugriva's wife, right? You have stolen Sugriva's kingdom. And therefore, the only way to address you and to bring you back to normalcy is to use stenaha steyat vimuchyate. If I adopt the same tactic of, stealth, that is when you will also get your reproachment. Eppadi அப்படின்னாக்கா, imagine you are Vali for a moment, okay? You are fighting Sugriva, and in a split second, அப்படின்னு வருது. What happens to you? At that moment, you think, யார் அது அப்படின்னு பார்ப்போம். Who is this? யார் எங்கேருந்து வந்தது? வாலி இவன் சுக்ரீவன் கிட்டேருந்து வரலையே அப்படின்னு மனசு படபடக்கும். அப்போ Lord Rama's arrow is so strong that it will immediately cause death, but he has that prana for some more time and he gives all that bhashanam. So it gives a time for self-reflection that Jiva will go through. நான் ஏதாவது தப்பு பண்ணிட்டேனா, எனக்கே இப்படி யார் இப்படி பண்ணா எனக்கு அப்படின்றச்சே அந்த தர்மங்கிற புத்தி, சாரி ஐ எம் கோயிங் இன்டு தமிழ் ஹியர். So what happens is it gives an opportunity for Wali to reflect on what he would have done in his life, because of which he is killed by stealth. And that is what he says here. And finally he says, because of this, of course, Lord Rama goes on to talk about the fact that you have done many more wrongs, but this is the primary thing, which is why I have used the mode of stealth. And he says that you understand this is the dharma. Do you follow? Abdin or question keeper as a true teacher. And actually, as per our crazy Mohan's drama also, Wali himself agrees, yes, what you have done is correct. I am wrong. I stand corrected. அப்படின்னு சொன்ன உடனே அவனுக்கு வீர சொர்க்கம் கிடைக்கிறது. Okay. And we all know Wali is the representation of Indra here. That comes in Puranas, not in Valmiki Ramayana. Okay. And then, of course, he orders Angada to do Pitrikaryam and so on. Okay. So this is the answer to Anusha's question in the last class. Okay. If that's clear. Of course, Lata also had a rider on that.
I have one more question.
Okay.
Even Ravana has stolen Sita. Why Rama stays Indru poi naalai va? He could have killed him.
Ravananuka. Okay. Why did he give that opportunity for என்னக்கா அங்க வந்துட்டு of course ராம ராவணையோர் யுத்தம் ராம ராவணையோர் இவ அப்படின்னு ஒரு இது இருக்கு. தி பேட்டில் பிட்வீன் ராமா அண்ட் ராவணா in some sense is between two equals in terms of the valor. And what happens at that point of time, the event that you are saying, is Ravana will become Ashastra, meaning he will not have any weapons with him. So, அப்படி இருக்கச்சே அந்த நிலையில Dharma Shastra says you are not supposed to fight with that person, which was not the case in Vali and Sugriva. Of course, Vali and Sugriva, the astram they were using was their own hands and nakas. Okay, they were kind of fighting with each other. And he was in a mood of fighting, and that was continuing. Whereas here, Ashastramaya Lord Rama, being a Dharmamurti, he says, Indru poi naaleva. Okay. Yes. Any further points?
I have one question. Is Manu Dharma applicable to human beings or all living organisms?
Okay. So Manu Dharma Shastram is primarily meant for all Manushyas to sharpen their buddhi and their manas to be aligned with the Chaturvida Purusharthas. And in terms of animals follow a very simple rule, which is that of going through their life simply to negate their karma. No new karma accumulates when you are an animal. You can be a tiger. If you kill a deer, you are not accumulating papa or punya. No. That is not true for all other janmas. Okay? Only for Manushya Janma, punya and papa get accumulated. So therefore, it applies primarily to Manushyas. Okay.
Okay, so what is then the reason for Rama to bring about or talk about Manu Dharma to Vali, considering he was a Vanara?
No, okay. So the Manu Dharma Shastram, as I mentioned, is meant for human beings in சொன்னேன். இவா வந்துட்டு வானராங்கிற ஜாத்தியில இருக்கா. So they are somewhere in between. They are neither monkeys nor human beings. They are somewhere in between, and they have evolved a sense of living in a society. If you look at Vali, they had a kingdom. They were not living in a jungle. So therefore, this rule applies to Vali. Okay. Good question. Okay, now if there are no more points, so the Wali Vadhan, yeah.
கிரேசி மோகன் பத்தி சொன்னபோது ஆக்சுவலா அவர் வந்து எண்டில் அந்த டிராமால சொல்லுவாரு, நாம யாரா அவரை ஜட்ஜ் பண்றதுக்கு, அதுதான் லாஸ்ட் வேர்டு அந்த இதுல. We are not here to judge what is right, what is wrong. He knows better. அதுதான் அந்த கன்க்ளூஷன் லாஸ்ட் வேர்டு மோகன் வந்து கடைசியா பேசுறது.
Correct, yes. So the thing is to bring about this aspect of bhakti. We give that superhuman status to Lord Rama, but interestingly, we should notice that Rama himself subjects his own decisions to other scrutiny. He does not shy away from that. So, in other words, it is okay to discuss and debate. The only thing is whether it leads, this particular discussion leads to light or heat, right? Any discussion should lead to light. When you get the proper direction from our Purvacharyas and Gurus, yes, this is what it is, idam itham. That is when we also get convinced in our mind that yes, now if somebody shakes you up in terms of Vali or Sugriva, we will have a perfect answer now, isn't it? And that is of course provided by Valmiki Ramayanam itself. And developing this kind of conviction is a bit different from if you don't go through the text and have that hero worship. At some point of time, even a minor shake by somebody will fall apart, will slip down. The Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. That's what will happen. So to protect us from that, we better go through this kind of discussions and debates. Okay. So, but you are right. The reason why Lord Rama is unquestionable is because he himself says, I follow dharma to the core. And what is dharma? In the context of Vali, he talks about dharma in one manner. In terms of Sita herself later on, he talks about dharma in another manner. So all aspects of dharma are brought out in Srimad Valmiki Ramayana. Okay.
Regarding your thing also, Vanar, the human Manu, we don't know because the time it happened. முன்னாடி இருந்த சவுத் உஸ்மான் ரோடே நான் இன்னைக்கு போனேன்னா அந்த மாதிரி இல்லை. ஸோ திங்ஸ் ஹவ் சேஞ்ச்டு ஓவர் centuries and thousands of years. We do not know what was the relationship between difference between human and Vanara, When we name alone with the tail, we don't know.
Correct. One thing is this, as a Dharma Shastram, when does it apply? When there is a thinking faculty, right? That is when the Jivatma is able to decide its course of action, right? When it is not able to think and do is a different thing. That is when it is a true animal. But the moment you know that, hey, Sugriva, நீ பண்ணது தப்பு, நீ போடா அப்படின்னு சொல்லி அடிக்கிறான் பத்தியா, அங்க there is using his intellectual faculty. That is when Dharma Shastra will immediately start to get applied. Okay. So it may be again, if you were to go to all the animals and animal kingdom and see, probably there are cases where it has to be applied, So we'll, yeah.
Generally, they say animal kingdom 3 P's: prey, procreate, perish. That's it.
Correct. So which chapter we were in? We were in the 35th chapter, isn't it? Sorry, I hope I've answered both the questions now. We were in sloka number 49, isn't it? Samayam valinam hantum tava chanveshanam prati samitravandam. Yeah. So the moment Vali was killed, that is when, of course, Sugriva became the king of all the monkeys there. Sugrivam akarotu patim. Rama Sugrivayoraikyam. This is sloka number 52. I think that is where we were in the last class. Okay. Sloka number 52. Rama Sugrivayoraikyam devyevam samajayata anumam tam chamam vidhi तयोर्तूतमिहागतं स्वराज्यं प्राप्य सुग्रीवः समानीय हरीश्वरान् त्वदर्थं प्रेषयामास दिशो दश महाबलान्. रामसुग्रीवयोर् ऐक्यं देवी evam samajayata. In this manner, the Maitri between Rama and Sugriva happened. In fact, in Tyagaraja's song, he mentions Guha. I'm not sure if he mentions Sugriva, isn't it? Guha sanakaduludhara nija bhagavata agresarulellaru. He says Bhagavata Agresara. In that list, he includes Guha. I'm not sure if he includes Sugriva. Here it says Maitri. Okay, that's the reason why I brought that up. Today we have Bhagavata aggressors rather than Bhagavata Agresara. Okay, Agresara is the prime, the first among all Bhagavatas. Aikyam, the kind of oneness between Sugriva and Ramachandra in terms of their goals and objectives that happened, and know that I am Hanuman and I am their messenger அப்படிங்கிறார் இல்லையா, messenger of both Sugriva and Ramachandra. So Ramaduta Hanuman, but he's also a Sugriva Duta because our salary per monthly payroll is run by Sugriva. Swarajyam prapya Sugrivaha. Swarajyam prapya Sugrivaha samaniya Harishwarani. He got his kingdom back and he summoned all the monkeys and he sent all of us into all the 10 directions. Disho dasha Mahabalana Todartham Preshayamasa. Just to start the search process. Bless you. You know, they didn't have Chrome or Google at that point of time. So they all set out on foot in various directions. Adhishthavanarendrena Sugrivena Mahojasa Atriraja Pratikashaha Sarvata Prasthitamahi Tatastu Margamanaste Sugriva Vachananugaha Charanti Vasudham Kritsnam Vayamanye Chavanaraha. Remember that they were all ordered by Sugriva, the Purusha who had great energy, Mahojasa. And each monkey was Adriraja Pratikasha. They were like Adri Naka mountain, yes, Sesha Adri, Narayana Adri, Vrishabhadri, 7 hills. And Adri Raja is Himalaya. So each monkey was as tall as Himalaya. Abdi Naka, idalang, the words are very important. These are all confidence boosting measures, CBM, isn't it? To Sita Mata. So the moment she imagines, oh, each monkey is that big, she will know, okay, there is a big army that's going to help protect me. And Tadastu Margamanaste Sugriva Vachananugaha. Sugriva gave them, in fact, directions to go, as well as he gave them ultimatums. If you return without Sita, I'll kill you. Abdine solvar or edathila. I will hold you to task. Enna Rama has protected, Rama has taken care of his promise. I'll kill Wali. Abdinite. Ivarku ore or therinja vishayam, to ensure that the monkeys follow what he says. Angado nama Lakshmivan Wali Sunur Mahabalaha Prasthitaha Kapishardula Tribhaga Bala Samritaha Tesham no Vipranashtanam Vindhe Parvata Sattame Bhrasham Shoka Paritanam Ahoratra Ganagataha. So in this manner, we all started to search, and one among them is Angada. He is a Lakshmivan. Okay, he's somebody who is endowed with divine qualities. He's Wali's son. He's a Mahabala, and he had the bala of 3 monkeys put together. Tribhaga Bala Samritaha. And he's a tiger among all monkeys, Kapishardulaha. But what happened was, many of us got lost in search of you. Okay, and we were all kind of very concerned. Where are the many other monkeys? Bhrisham Shoka Paritanam Ahoratra Gana Gataha. So there were many nights where, imagine there's an army of monkeys who are searching, and they are all monkeys at the end of the day. Okay, some of them, they get lost. So the leaders among the monkeys were worried. Where are the others? you know, how are we going to help coordinate and achieve this humongous task? Okay. I think we are getting over the time. I'll pause here and we'll conclude our session here today.
आभुजान्तश्रीचक्रकुण्डलधरं कुटिलकुन्तलं शिशुं मन्दस्मितरुचिकराधरपुटं पूर्णिमैक्ष्यान्वितं मुखं शरस्योर्ध्वगतिं मुद्रया विदिशन् सव्येन प्रणवं धनुम् मध्ये सुस्थितमुग्धश्यामलमहं श्रीरामं भजे मोहनम् गुरुचरणाम्बुज निर्भरा भक्तः गुरुचरणाम्बुज निर्भरा भक्तः संसारचिरतव मुक्तः गुरुचरणाम्बुज कृष्णा कृष्णा सेन्द्रियमानसंनियमदेवं द्रक्षसि निज हृदयस्थं देवं भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूर्ध्वमते
कायेन वाचा मनसा इन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्या आत्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै श्रीमन्नारायणायेति समर्पयामि सर्वं श्रीरामचन्द्रार्पणमस्तु. Have a great day and a week ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.